Alright, so this is my game. This is also my second attempt at the video. I felt like the other video I submitted kind of didn't go into as much depth as I would have liked, and I would kind of like to try that again. So this is my tractor mode. It's a little bit buggy, but it's not unplayable. One of the bugs you see right now is the mode firing more bullets. That's not really related to the bullet. It's actually kind of an interesting problem. But anyway, here's the tractor mode. Here's one player mode. It's got the centipede beat sounds, the fire sounds. It's a little bit loud, I'm sorry. Centipede kills. There's wave changes, different states with centipede. They're right now in one player mode, so yeah, I'm actually just gonna turn the volume off right now. So that kicks me back to the attractor mode. It's not perfect. There are obviously mushrooms over the high score, but I didn't think it was kind of a big enough issue for it to make a significant difference in the game. So here is my two-player mode. So right now I'm player one, just getting points. Blah blah. All right, now I'm player two. As you can see, the HUDs are updating correctly with their correct locations and everything. Switch back to player one. Just want some fleas to spawn or something. I think fleas spawn at level 3, yep. There we go. There we go. Ah, damn it. Here. This should kill me. Yay, it kicks you back to the screen. So the final thing, I kind of implemented a high score thing, but I can't really show it to you because actually, hold on, I probably could. Let me change this real fast. I didn't, as any consolation, it's not perfect, but actually change my high scores. I didn't. So as you can see, the right here, I don't know if you can actually. I don't know if you could read that, but it says 27,890 CJV, and then CJV 200. So I should be able to get a high score in that range. But as you can see, it's there, but I have no text entry. You just get your score added. So let's do this in one player mode just to kind of make this fast. Should technically already have a high score, but just to make sure. And then if I pass one more level, I get fleas to spawn. So this can finally kill me. Alright. It's being covered up by mushroom. Ah, there we go. 430 right there. As you can see. So the high score, the score part works, but the actual text entry, I should have probably made it a different name. than CJB, but I'll actually just show you that code to kind of prove that it works. So when you add a high score, you have a high score class called in, and that has a score and a name string. So basically you convert that to an integer, and then you test it against the other ones to see if that new high score is greater than anything. And if it is, you put it at that location, and then you push it back and you normalize it, so you make sure that it's basically 10 every time. Yeah. So I went through all the basic modes, but now I'm gonna kind of go into the I'll actually go into the features a little bit deeper. So the bullet callback, I actually took that out of the bullet. I put that in the wave manager class. And basically the wave manager has an active ship, and that active ship gets called, and their can fire function gets called. So that active ship gets switched out between modes. So for instance, if I'm initializing say initializing player 1, that the pointer gets changed to a new ship. Yeah, I'm setting all my HUD elements are in the active field that has the callback. So for every time I initialize the player 1 mode, I'm removing the null colliders from behind the high score screen. They are there, they're just not being detected correctly. So let's actually go to I'll kind of stick kind of in one area at a time. So for the blaster, there are 2 types of blasters, and they both derive from a base class. Let me make sure you can see this. So right now I'm in the ship base. There's ship types, there's normal and AI. Their can fires are all overrid. So yeah, let's just go into the ship class. Yeah, the main difference between these two is registering for inputs. Yeah. And setting each type to correct type. Okay, so for the mushroom, I did not implement the sound for the mushroom, but as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4. There are 4 lives. We can actually move right along and go straight to the centipede. So there's basic sounds, movement. There's that centipede beat, which you can hear. I'll have it stay in the bottom rows too. But basically, yeah, centipede was probably the biggest part of the project. Caused a majority of the crashes, but I think I got it fairly solid. It just died. It splits when segments are hit, so let's see if I can. Perfect. I actually don't know if there is if you've seen the poison yet, but you should see it now, or at least soon, hopefully. Here we go. Yep. Poison drops. No, wait. Complete. Okay. Let's look at the scorpion, the flea, and the spider too, I guess. Make sure this is centered. Should happen anytime. Here I'll just kind of, fleas don't spawn until wave. Actually, I'll change that right now. You can see my text file for the waves. All that information's here. Let's see if you can see it. There we go. Okay, so the wave number is essentially a deadline that kind of helps me get everything correctly aligned, so I don't read anything that's not the right data type. So right here is my flea spawn. It sets at no. Let me set it at yes. And flea should now spawn on level 1. Yep, there you go. The high score screen. Fleas do not have their callback there for the, like, I think it's like something like 12 mushrooms, and if there are fewer than 12 mushrooms in the lower section of the screen, then it gets it can spawn. But I have it on a timer. I didn't have enough time to implement that. So yeah, the scorpions, they poison mushrooms, move left to right, right to left, fleas, top to bottom. I didn't implement the 2 lives, and I didn't implement the faster movement. Spider has left to right and right to left movement, but the score is not based on distance. It's just kind of a generic score that I have in there. So for the factories, you can see these. So here are all my factories right over in this section, right here. I'll open up my bullet factories. This is where I do all my bullet jazz. It's kind of the same thing, watch, rinse, repeat for each type. The only difference really is their initialization functions. So basically, for example, for the centipede, you have a position, a direction, the piece that's in front of it, and the active field that it has, the mushroom field, for callbacks. So for the wave manager, I showed you. I'll show you the part where I read the waves. Right, it's this kind of huge section right here called read waves. So that opens my waves text, and that you can see where that get line, kind of that whole first line comes in. Basically, while it sees this generic wave number line, it'll kind of take all its data and push it onto my wave list. So my general classes, basically these are my serialization and deserialization classes. So they're basically, actually you can't see that. No, you can. So there's waves and there's high scores. High scores is just 2 strings, and waves, I think it's just a class of ints. That's how I store my data. I'll show you where I read the high scores. It's really not terribly interesting, but basically look at the file and you read them by the acronym and the score, the name and the score, and then you push it back to the list. So same thing. I had a majority of my information. I didn't put it in the player because uh, the ships get destroyed literally all the time. So I don't think any single ship stays around through the course of the game. So I made the executive decision to put everything in the wave manager that kind of has all the scores. However, it turned my wave manager into a hell of a beast with a bunch of different functions. So this is my wave manager. So yeah. I'll show you the HUD. For the high scores, those are being displayed in attraction mode. So basically, whenever the HUD's created, you have your high score information, so your text, and then the 10 that follow. It's not very scalable, but Centipede isn't really going to change that much. So yeah, you create them. Now I have this function called draw high score, and that is called an update of the wave manager. So basically it checks if it's in attractor mode, and if it is, it'll draw the high score. And it also looks for key presses, so if you look for the 1 and you find the 1, you initialize 1-player mode. If you find the 2, you initialize 2-player mode. Yeah, the sound manager, I think I already showed you this. If I didn't, I'll show you again just in case, because I messed up this video enough times already. So there's my sound base, there's a sound active and sound muted. So sound base is a singleton that and you set the current instance to be either a sound active or sound muted, and that determines whether or not sounds play. Trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing. One thing I'm going to mention as the final kind of addition is the last thing that I worked on was the null collider for the high score, the high score section of the game, and it basically allowed the Centipede and everything else to interact with the text. But for whatever reason, I just could not get it to work the way I had set up my code. It just didn't want to kind of help me out. One of these main issues is determining whether a mushroom is at a location or a null collider, because you can kind of edit the mushrooms, but you can't really do anything to the null colliders. That's kind of controlled by me. So what I ended up doing is making a function and looking at how, like, it basically tried to determine whether or not a mushroom was there. What I should have done, which I kind of see now while working on this, is made virtual functions that check, hey, are you a poison one, and if it's a mushroom, it'll return something, or it'll return whatever the state it's in. And if, I'd have to find some other way to kind of just like not do anything for null colliders. But yeah, I wish I had a little bit more time to kind of polish it. I might just do it on my own, just for fun. But yeah, had a good time with this project. Hopefully this video is significantly better than anyone I've posted. If it is late and this video is significantly better, then would you please regrade with this new submission? That'd be fantastic, because I don't feel like my other video that I submitted was up to par. But it's your call. Thank you.